Okay, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how using Illustrator you can make great, professional, sexy, cool looking text effects. Way better than what you can do in Photoshop. Photoshop is fun, but really it's for web design, image manipulation, and natural painting. Only on rare occasions do you really use it for doing any serious type work. That's what Illustrator is for. Illustrator is for text and layout. So I'm hoping at the end of this tutorial I will break you of your Photoshop habit. Believe me, I've been there. I think we all start off loving Photoshop until we discover Illustrator and realize, wow, Photoshop is really not the right tool for most professional layout, packaging design, posters, flyers, sell sheets, brochures, all of that stuff, album covers, you know, liner notes, everything. If it's print and it's text, think Illustrator. So we're going to start off here, and I'm also going to demonstrate some of the things that are very unique to Illustrator and why they are superior to Photoshop. So, and if you're already a Photoshop, if you're new to Illustrator, this is going to be a lot to take in at one time. But that's okay, because I'm going to post the original file that we're working on right now in the video description. You'll be able to find a link to it there. That's also where you'll find some general settings, you know, my system, what I'm using for an interface device. I'm using a Wacom tablet. Look there first. Please read the video description first before you post questions. If it's not there, then go ahead and post, and I'll answer as soon as possible. So we're going to start off here, and we're going to start off with the word, let's start off the word awesome. Sure. Awesome. Awesome. So there we go, and that's in Helvetica Black. And the first thing you'll notice is the spacing on the lettering. So first let's make it all capitals, because this will look best in capitals. And the first thing you know is the spacing between the lettering. And the space between the letters is called kerning. And when you're working with logos, headlines, or subheadlines, you always hand kern your lettering. Do not accept it straight out as you type it, because it will always be off. In this case, you can see the A is just floating off by itself, and the E is way too far from the M. All the letters seem a little too far away, so I'm going to tighten them up first by going on my character palette and doing the kerning. I'm going to just take this to -25. See, I kind of tightened it up? But the A and the E is still too far away, so I'm going to select the A. I'm going to go -75. So that's shortened the kerning between the A and the W to -75, which tightened it up a lot closer to where it should be. And the M, we're just going to take it a little more narrow to -50. So there we go, the word awesome. So always hand kern your lettering. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding some effects. Now what makes Illustrator radically different than Photoshop is Photoshop, the lettering is, you can add a drop shadow, a stroke, a bevel, and so on. Here you can add an unlimited number of strokes and drop shadows and glowing outlines or inner shadows, because each effect works independently, and each appearance, each stroke operates independently. So I'm going to show you how that works. So first we're going to go here and we're going to add a new fill. This is how I like to do it. I'm going to start with add new fill, and we're going to make this gradient here. And you see it's going left to right. I want it to have the top to bottom, so I'm going to go to the gradient tool on my tools here. Click that. See how it's going left to right? Well, I'm going to go to Shift and then drag. I'm going to make it top to bottom. Well, that looks a lot nicer. I like that. And now we're going to add another. We're going to add a stroke. And I'm going to go in tight here so you can kind of see what happened. Now see how the, I'm going to turn this off and on. First I'm going to make it 2 points thick. See how it kind of ate into the lettering a little bit? Let me turn that off and on. Yeah, kind of chews up the lettering a little bit. That's because the stroke's on top of the fill. I'm going to drag this on the appearance palette and put it right underneath the fill. See how that worked? You can just move everything around. You can shift this around. So I'm going to take this stroke, I'm going to put it under the fill. That looks really good. And I'm going to add on this stroke, I'm going to add a gradient. This is what's really new in Illustrator 6, and that is you can add gradients to strokes. Illustrator 5 and below, you can add gradients to strokes. There's other ways to get that kind of gradient stroke effect that has to do with offsetting paths. But for right now, the only difference between CS5 and below and CS6 for this particular lesson is the gradient on the stroke. Everything else is exactly the same. So here we go, and I would like that stroke to go 90 degrees top to bottom. I think that would look really good. And there we go. See how the text, the stroke, the first stroke, see how it starts off dark red and goes into an orange. Kind of nice. Already gave it a little bit of a effect there. Now I'm going to add another stroke. And I'm going to make this one 4. This will be 4 pixels. That means it's going to stick out. See how it sticks out a little bit farther? But this one, I'm going to reverse the direction on it so it goes the opposite way. Now, see what happened there? This is going the exact same way. It just makes a thicker looking stroke. But you reverse it out, and now you've got something that has some depth to it. So you know, watch that again. On, that's the same direction, opposite direction. So that was a really, really cool effect. And we're going to add one more stroke. And this stroke here will be 6 points. It's a little bit thicker. But we're just going to go with something solid here in the background. We'll go like this right there. There we go. So that gives it a lot of pop. So you can see what's happening. We've got the 3 strokes on top with the fill. So that's pretty awesome, I would say. I think that looks pretty good. And let me back up a little bit. So there we go. So, but now I might go, it's kind of awesome, but not really awesome enough for me. So here, we're gonna do something to make it a little more awesome. So we're gonna copy that, and then we're gonna go to our appearance palette, and we're gonna go down here at the bottom where it says clear appearance, and it's a no symbol, the circle with the slash. I'm gonna take the appearance off, and now we're gonna go to type and create outlines. And the reason is what we want to do next won't work with editable text. It has to be converted to outlines, which in Illustrator means is these letters are no longer letters in the editable sense. They're shapes. They're shapes of letters. So, and I'm going to I'm going to go ahead and add a fill on this, and a cool looking fill. And I'm going to make it go top gradient fill and go top to bottom. That looks really nice. Now I'm going to take my knife tool, and I'm kind of going to slice a little like chromey wave through the whole thing like this. I want to go a little bit higher on that A, so I'm going to undo that, and I'm going to start off on the A a little bit higher. And it's still not happy with that one. Here, I should have stuck with the first one. Here we go, up and down, and up and down. Ah, that's good enough. So there we go. Now we're going to take that and put that on top. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and get in tight here so you can see. And I'm just going to eyeball this by putting it right here in the corner. Just pick any letter in there. Now it's sitting right where it should. Now let's pull back. There we go. Awesome. Nice chromey effect. Now if this was done in silvers, and it could look like chrome. So here we go. This is awesome. And still, you might go, well, yeah, it's kind of awesome, but I want it to be a little more awesome. I said, okay, let's make it a little more awesome. And what we're going to do is we're going to take, let's go ahead and copy this lettering again, and let's take out the effects. Let's convert it to outlines. And what we're going to do here is we're going to make 2 instances of this. Because this is how I do like little bevel effects. This already has a bevelly effect, but this will give it a little more 3D look that you kind of like, in Photoshop. And we're going to make one a little grayer just so we can see what's going on. See how they got the 2 layers? And we're going to tuck that in there because we're going to make a little drop shadow. And we're going to offset them just by eyeballing it, and right, that looks good because I want something kind of subtle there. Alright, so now we're going to select all of that. So we selected both layers, right? And we're going to go to the Pathfinder, and we're going to choose exclude, and that will kind of cut out the 2 sections there. And let me make the whole thing dark so you can see it better now. So there we go. So we have two things there. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to copy it. Because what we're going to do is one is going to be the kind of the highlight bevel, and one's going to be the shadow bevel. So I'm going to start off and make, doesn't matter which one you pick, but I'm going to take the top one. I'm going to say this is going to be highlight bevel. So that means I'm going to go and pick all the shadows with the direct selection tool, and I'm going to pop those out there. Just get rid of them. And this is where having some art background helps, because you will be able to instinctively know what side is shadow and what side is highlight. There we go. Cut that out. That's a little shadow. That's a little shadow there. And O's are easy. Can't mess up those. Whoops, I didn't want to do... actually, I'm taking off the shadow. So shadow side, shadow side, shadow side, shadow. Taking off all the shadows. There we go. So that leaves us all highlight. Now we're going to take this bottom one and we're going to eliminate all the highlights. And you might go, wow, this is kind of cumbersome. And it is, but you know, you kind of get used to it, and in the end it looks amazing. So take the highlight off there. Highlight. There's a little one in the corner there. Highlight. Highlight. There we go. And highlight on the O, the M, and highlight on the E. There we go. That seems to look right. All right. So we're going to take the first one here and we're going to put it down here. And there's our. And you see how it already, kind of gave it a lot of pop, didn't it? So that's not completely aligned yet, but what I'm going to do is I want to have it a gradient. So I'm going to add this gradient to it and have this gradient go top to bottom for me. But I want to have it be pretty dark, close to black on for the darkest, and have it fade up to a really deep red as it goes up. There we go, because I want to have a lot of pop. Let me go in the corner here. We just take this by hand and we find it and we line it up with the first stroke. There we go. That looks good. And so pull back there. See how much depth that gave it? Now we're going to take this. This will be the highlight one. And we're going to add a little stroke to it. I mean, sorry, Phil. And we're going to go top to bottom. But I want this to be almost pure white at the top and a lot lighter at the bottom, because I want this to have a good sheen to it. And I'm going to line that up right there. And tuck this in the corner so it's lined up well. Here we go. Oh, looks like I already had it perfect eyeballed the first time. So there we go. So that's looking pretty awesome now. It's got a great bevel effect. Let me deselect it here so you see that. It's awesome. It's got a reflection like a chrome, and you say, okay, well, yeah, that is pretty awesome, but I need a little more awesomeness to it. So, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to add a little ribbon device, and I'm going to take I'm just going to duplicate the layer, the effects on my original type. I'm going to add it to this. But I'm going to beef up all of my strokes, because really this is going to be, I'm going to go to 4 and 6 and 8. That made it everything. Let's see, I made it a little thicker. And I'm going to, there's two ways to send it to the back. You can go to Object, Transform, Arrange, and go to Send to Back. Or you can do Click. You can hit, Control, and then do the left bracket, and that will do it incrementally down. So I'm going to go ahead and just do incrementally down so you can see how it goes through the layers. It's kind of neat. So there it goes through the highlight layer, through the shadow layer, through the chrome layer, and ultimately behind the text. Now, of course, I want to have some more pop in here, so I'm going to change this interior fill, and I want to make this really intense dark. So right there, and take the other one. I'll make this pure red. Awesome. Okay, I'd say that's looking a little more awesome, but we want it to be a little more dynamic too. So I'm just eyeballing it here what I think should be right thickness. So now we're going to go and we're going to add some anchor points, and with the pen tool. The pen tool allows you to add anchor points, delete anchor points, as well as just draw. So I'm going to add an anchor point right here on this side. My hand's a little jittery, I'm missing it. There we go. And then I'm going to take the direct selection tool and go to my anchor point and just pull it in like that. And now I'm going to add another anchor point over here. There we go. Take my direct selection tool and just kind of tuck that in. There we go. So we got a little ribbon. And you go, okay, that's looking more awesome. I'm impressed. But it needs to be a little more awesome. It's a little more awesome. So, okay, so I'm going to take the ribbon. I'm going to add a drop shadow. Under Stylize, you go Drop Shadow. And it's already set to 0.02 inches for the X and Y offset. And I don't want to blur on this because I want a hard shadow. Let's look at the preview. And, see, that's wrong. See, it added the shadow, actually, to the inside. Right there. See how that's let me get in close. You'll see. This little mistake I just made will actually kind of show you why this is so cool. So I added the drop shadow effect to my fill layer, but I actually want it to be on my last stroke. So I'm going to drag that in my appearance palette and put it right below the stroke, and now the drop shadow is where it should be. I could place that drop shadow anywhere. I could have multiple drop shadows on every single stroke and just get as 3D as I want. It's like, okay, well that looks good, but it's still not enough for me. I'm like, okay, well let's take the original lettering here. Let's highlight the stroke layer because we're going to add the drop shadow on that too. Okay, there we go. Now, okay, this is looking pretty awesome. But you say, well, I need a little more awesomeness. Yes, this is awesome, but let's make it a little more awesome. So okay, so let's select all of this and let's put it in a group. It's all one big group now. And now we're going to go to effects and we're going to warp it around. And let's do a flag. Flag effects are really classy. They look good on packaging. They look good on headlines. There we go. And there we go. Awesome. Got a nice ribbon there. That looks classy. That would look really good on a poster or on a package. And let's let's zoom in here and you can kind of see what's going on. So go from left to right. You can see it says awesome. And this is vector. I can take this effect right off. I'll highlight it. And take the warp off. Nope, it's back on. So, and I can try other effects. I go, well, that one's pretty cool, but let's go ahead and let's take off warp, and I'm going to add on a warp. I'm going to add a arch. Arches always look cool. And apply new effects. Says, you do want to apply a new effect? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. So let's see what that looks. That's a good looking arch, but a little too extreme. There we go. So now there's awesome. That would look great on a package or a poster too. I'll highlight that, but you know, I want to have the warp effect too, and the arch. But you say, well, you know, it's still not awesome enough for me. So I'm like, okay, let's go for it. Let's just take it to the next level. So let's go to bulge. Let's bulge it out. Yes, of course I want to apply a new effect. You know, no limits. And let's just bulge that out. Whoa, here we go. Okay. So, is that awesome enough for you? Now, only a 4-year-old would think this was cool, but I'm really just demonstrating some concepts, and that is, this is vector. I can manipulate this, add one effect after another, delete effects, change the intensity. So let's take off the arch, let's take off the bulge, we're back to our warp flag, and we're back to the original. So there we go. There's your awesome text effects for Illustrator. Very sexy, very cool. This is a vector image. I haven't saved the file yet, but I bet you anything it's going to be below a megabyte. And that's where it really makes a difference. If I did this if I want to have this on a banner, a 5-foot wide banner, it's still a tiny under megabyte file. But if I want to do this in Photoshop and have something 5 feet across, that thing's going to be, 200 megabytes at least, and it will not have all the flexibility. So there we go. There's awesome type effects for Illustrator CS6, but this will also work besides the gradients on the strokes. Everything else will also work on CS5, Illustrator, and below. And remember to read the video description first, where you can find this exact file. You can download it, break it apart, and see how it was all done. And thank you very much.